Hey everybody, great to have you here with us today. On this episode, another Dragon Ball Super power chart. We're going to start scaling forward. We just did Battle of Gods, and now we're moving on to the Golden Frieza saga. We hope you guys are ready for this one. This is Vin.
And this is Joe.
So if you're looking forward to it, we're having it right after this. All right, so the Golden Frieza saga goes from episode 16 of Dragon Ball Super all the way to episode 27. So it's about 11 episodes long or so. It's not really a long saga, but it's an important one. It establishes the power levels for us that we know of as Blue, specifically for Goku and Vegeta. It also establishes Frieza and his training, not only in his base form to a degree, but his ultimate form and his golden form. It reveals some information to us about Gohan and Piccolo, and then we get to see a ton of fighting and context between these old rivals, Goku and Frieza, and Vegeta and Frieza, which is very important for scaling Super. And it also issues some important information for us for later scaling when it comes to the Universal Tournament of Power, which we will bring up when we get to that level. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through the episodes and we're going to introduce these characters as they come up. So the first episode we start off with in this saga is episode 16.
So we're going to start this saga off with Vegeta in episode 16. He's going to ask Whis to train him because he's obviously falling behind from Goku because he turned Super Saiyan God in the last saga, and he's feeling the pressure. And to our surprise, Whis is okay with it once he actually feeds him some ramen, and he is gracious for it, and we'll start actually training Vegeta. Now, at this point, Vegeta, we still feel like he was a little bit lower than Goku on the chart. We're going to put him at a 0.08, just below the 0.1 that Goku was. We don't feel like he was stronger. We do know that he did get stronger at one point than Goku when he fought Beerus because he was very angry when he hit Bulma. But that was just like a small instance where he used all his power at once to attack Beerus, and it really wasn't even effective. But it's not saying really he's stronger than Goku. So that's where we're putting him at 0.08. Now this is where it gets interesting. So in episode 17, we see that he's training Vegeta for about 6 months according to Bulma. So Goku hears about it and obviously wants to go train with Whis. And pretty much at the end of the episode, he heads out with Whis because at this point, Whis tells us that it seems like Vegeta is ready to have Goku come and help train him, according to Whis at least. So when Goku arrives, he actually tells Vegeta, "I can tell you got way more powerful," which sort of reveals to us that he apparently reached God level. We don't know how it happened. They really don't show us, but he just somehow with Whis figured out how to maybe use some type of God Ki and get to that level where he's now equal with Goku. We just have to go with it. We really don't get much of an explanation. Whis is just a super master at this. And based off the training schedule that they had, they only were like picking up weights and changing Beerus' sheets. I don't know how that helps you get God power, but apparently that does work.
And I would say that this is just one of the things that you have to accept. At the end of the day, when we put together the scaling chart, we can't really always explain why characters are able to achieve or the writers put them in that place. They just do. And, you know, even like when you get to Kefla, it just is what it is. You know, we can't control what the writers do and the way they do it. We can only scale it appropriately. So after this 6 months, there is a no doubter about it. Vegeta was able to somehow achieve this. However he was able to achieve it, we don't see it. We're just have to accept it. Okay, and so that's the case when it comes to that. Now, when Goku does arrive there to train with him, Whis' training actually wears Goku out. He falls asleep. But Vegeta, the way Vegeta is, he continues to want to get stronger, so he keeps training. However, Vegeta and Goku really aren't able to land a punch at all on Whis, obviously expected. Episode 19 continues forward like this. Vegeta and Goku are going to continue to train, and this is the point at which Frieza is resurrected with the Dragon Balls. And we also learn some important information about Frieza here. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and introduce the base powers now of Vegeta and Goku. Vegeta, after he's trained with Whis for 6 months, things that we know some things but can't know everything, but somehow he's become immensely powerful. And Goku, who we already know his base and how it got up there from the previous saga. So we put base Vegeta here at a 6.1 on the chart, or a 227 on the converted scale, because we use the 2-scale system here. And base Goku is at a 6.15 or a 233. So you can sort of see here where they stand in relationship to each other.
Yeah, we just gave Goku a little bit of a boost. I mean, he did do some training with Whis and Vegeta, so we feel like he should have gone up a little bit. I mean, they're always getting stronger, even with a little bit of training, but we don't feel like it was too much because it wasn't really like a real battle where they get a lot more strength from it.
Some might bring up the fact that Vegeta was able to lift more weight than Goku in the training, but I don't think that's really attributed necessarily to the extent of the base power level, more the fact that Vegeta had been there for 6 months and he was used to this. So being used to something is a little bit different than being more powerful or stronger than somebody. And so we really can't say at this point, Vegeta's base is it's higher than Goku's. It's just not. Goku had this for a while. Battled Beerus with it, and now is training as well. So we do definitely have to give him the edge here.
Yeah, and we're also basing this off of what we said a little bit when he was talking with Goku. He felt like Vegeta just got to that point where he's ready for Goku to come there and for him to train both of them to learn how to use their God Ki. So that also makes me think that he probably just got to the point at being God level.
Episode 20, this is where we learn that Frieza is born with his great power. In fact, it's said that he hasn't even trained a day in his life. So everything we saw before from Frieza and Dragon Ball Z, that was all just his natural sort of abilities, just born like that, able to do what he did. And now Frieza is going to train for the first time ever. So this is going to be interesting. What impact is this going to have? Obviously, at the time, we don't know. Now we do. Goku and Vegeta just continue to train with each other and with Whis. Episode 21, this is when Frieza is going to finally arrive to Earth, and then Vegeta and Goku continue to train as well. Episode 22, Gohan is going to transform into a Super Saiyan. He's going to defeat Ginyu, who took Tagoma's body. Frieza is and this is going to be important now, because now we're going to see some interaction between Frieza in his base form and Gohan and Piccolo. And Frieza in his base form is basically, he's going to go ahead and try and kill Gohan, but Piccolo steps in to stop it. Now, this reveals very important information about the strength of Gohan and Piccolo, which is not that unexpected. These two are not very strong. Obviously, they're going to be, at this point, lower than a 0.08, which Vegeta was at on the chart, and Frieza is in his base form after training is going to be immensely higher than that. And so Piccolo steps in episode 23. We see that he takes Frieza's shot and he's going to die in the process. So clearly Frieza in his base form now, after training for just some months, is able to raise his power level phenomenally. And then we're going to put him on the chart in just a moment here, but it's important to know that. Finally, in episode 23, this is where Goku and Vegeta show up, and Frieza is going to transform into his ultimate form from before, from Dragon Ball Z, that we're all used to.
So let's go back just a little bit here with Goku and Vegeta's training. They went through quite a few hurdles here to try to figure out how to use God power. I mean, the very first time that they actually feel the power of Super Saiyan God Blue is when both their fists collide, and you actually see like the blue aura spark for a second. And then they also go into Whis' staff to learn how to use their ki. Now this is really what mostly their training was for, is to learn how to control their ki so they can both combine Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan power together to make blue. And if we watch it, Vegeta does this better than Goku. He learns it faster. He gets it easier. If I had to really predict like who actually gets to go into blue first, I would actually say Vegeta probably mastered it first. We don't get to see that, but based off of how well Vegeta was doing compared to Goku in learning his ki, I would say that. So I just want to make sure that we go through a little bit of what the training was for them to reach this level and why they were doing it.
Now, once Frieza transforms into his ultimate form, Goku and Frieza begin to fight each other in episode 24. And this is the first time where we get to see, okay, base Goku versus Frieza in his ultimate form. What's this going to look like? And what we learn really is that the fight is very evenly matched. None of them really have the upper hand on the other one. In fact, though, Frieza actually does land some punches on Goku. However, Goku is distracted. This may say something about Frieza's base power. I mean, in his ultimate form, at least. Possibly stronger, but actually we don't think so. We just think that Goku was distracted. And in fact, when we place Frieza in his ultimate form, we believe that he's actually lower than Goku's base form here, but because of his training has gone up immensely. So on our scaling chart, we put Frieza in his ultimate form at a 6.0 or 216. So you can now see where everyone stands in what we're going to call their base forms, although it is actually Frieza's ultimate form from Dragon Ball Z. But we're going to put Frieza now on the chart at a 6.0 or a 216 on the converted scale. Base Vegeta after his training is at a 6.1 or 227, and base Goku is at a 6.15 or 233. This is before anyone actually transforms into either their red, blue form or obviously going to be Golden Frieza when he achieves that form. So then we continue forward.
They finally decide to lay all the cards down and do their transformation. Goku actually transforms first into his blue form, and Frieza isn't, like, very worried, actually. It's interesting. He sort of takes it in, and he's pretty sure he'll still be able to handle it. He actually tries to fight Goku in his final form for a little bit while he's in his blue. Obviously, no chance against him at all once he's transformed. And so then we get to see Frieza finally transform into his gold version of himself, and they are impressed. Goku can't believe that he is actually this strong just for training for a little bit. It took Goku his whole life to get to this level, and now Frieza's able to achieve it in just a few months. He's actually stunned by this and really thinks how amazing Frieza is because he's able to achieve this. So we actually see a very close fight between Goku and Frieza here. They are going back and forth, and it seems pretty even through most of it until it starts to get later in, and we actually see that Frieza has the upper hand, and Goku even says at one point that Frieza is probably stronger. And so we are going to chart this out based off of the fight, what we're seeing, and what actually Goku is stating here.
Now, even though Goku doesn't go into his red form, we're going to go ahead and show you what his red form would be on our chart. So we're going to move over into that, and you can see it's a 6.93 or a 333 on the converted scale. Remember, 333 isn't his power level. It's just a number for the scaling on the converted chart. What Goku does, though, is he transforms into his blue form. And so when Goku transforms into blue form, and we're going to actually scale over here, and we're going to show you Vegeta and Goku in their blue forms because they are very close. But because Goku's base is higher than Vegeta's base, at least at this point, we believe that's the case, you're going to see that Vegeta in his blue form is going to be an 8.10 or a 532 on the converted scale, and blue Goku is going to be an 8.15 or a 541. We want to make sure that you guys understand how we get this number. This is how the number is achieved. Goku's base form, when he goes Super Saiyan, he gets a 50 times multiplier. Now, unfortunately, when he goes regular Super Saiyan, he only gets the 50 times multiplier to his base mortal ki. That means his Saiyan ki. He doesn't actually get the 50 times multiplier to what is really most of his power, which is the God ki that's burning within him. That original red form that was a 6.0 that was 216 on the chart, that does not get a 50 times multiplier. When he goes regular Super Saiyan, it's just his mortal ki that gets the 50 times multiplier, which should be really expected. Some people, though, do, however, say, no, he gets the 50 times multiplier to every ki. We don't say that. We believe that after training with Whis Goku finally figures out how to become a Super Saiyan who is a god who is a Super Saiyan. That convoluted statement that Goku made to Frieza, and Frieza said that that was like a tongue twister. The reason it sounds convoluted is because what Goku is basically saying is he figured out how to get his Super Saiyan in god form and get the multiplier for the god form. He figured out how to mix it together to get the multiplier. Rather than just having the God form burning within him, he mixed it and got the multiplier, and this is where he goes blue. So he gets a 50 times multiplier now to his God Ki energy, and that's what we do. We give him the 50 times multiplier. We apply the multiplier on the linear scale, which is Toriyama's original scale, and then we add that to his power level and we put it on the converted scale, and that's where he gets to an 8.15 or a 541. We know this can sound kind of complicated to a lot of people, and we've been working with this for such a long time, it doesn't seem too complicated to us at this point, but we do have other videos out there where we go through how we do all this. But regardless to say, what it really ultimately comes down to is it's a 50 times multiplier to Goku's entire ki power at that point, his God ki and his regular mortal ki, to get the God form blue power level.
Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, why don't you do the multiplier to the red form and not his base? But if you always remember how multipliers work, it always works to the base, so we're not going to do it to the red form. A lot of people suggest that, but that's not one of the things that we feel like is correct. We always feel like it should be done to the base when it comes to transformations and multipliers for it. Another big thing that people go out and say is it should be only a 10 times multiplier because that's mostly based off of the manga. Now, the manga does this very differently. I believe the 10 times multiplier is correct based off of the manga context of how it explains it, but we don't scale the manga. I just want to make sure you know we're going based off of everything on the anime and how they word it and how they show it off, and we think that they show it off and word it as a 50 times multiplier like a Super Saiyan is.
Now, as they're fighting, Goku's in his blue form on our scale here, and he is, like as Joe said, struggling to keep up with Frieza. Frieza is basically beating him, and Goku sort of admits it, that his power level is likely higher than his own, and we do see Frieza here as more powerful than Goku in the blue form. So when we move the chart over here, as you can see, we put Golden Frieza at an 8.32 or a 576. So how do we get that number? Well, we get that number in a couple of ways. First and foremost, we get it based off of the context of the anime. Again, you get into that headcanon thing, but we said in previous episodes, there is good headcanon and bad headcanon. There's headcanon that's based in evidence, that's based in context, that's based in actual fighting and battles, which this is, and there's headcanon that's just made up because somebody wants to make it up and they like that idea. That's not this. We clearly see and know where Goku is, but we can see how Frieza interacts and fights with him. So we know that he's stronger. We know he's more powerful than Goku is. And that lends us to say, okay, what is the multiplier here for Frieza? If we have Frieza's ultimate form at a 6.0, and we know that Frieza's golden form is stronger than Goku's blue form, it indicates to us that Frieza's multiplier is slightly higher than Goku's. You know, obviously they're different races, they're different beings, and all these different things. So the multipliers don't have to be exactly the same. And so in the anime, we give him a 60 times multiplier here because in the context we can see he's stronger. Not by a lot stronger, but he's definitely stronger. And so that puts Golden Frieza at slightly more powerful than both Goku and Vegeta in their blue forms. And now some people would say, well, but Goku started to beat Frieza, so wasn't Goku really more powerful? The answer is no, because the reason that he was beating Frieza had nothing to do with Frieza's power level or scaling at that time. It was simply because all Frieza did was train, then he went right to Earth to go ahead and fight Vegeta and Goku. So he didn't actually learn the form that much. He didn't get stamina in the form. So although he was initially more powerful, he began to lose that power much more quickly than Goku would have, because Goku was much more prepared, had trained much more, had fought in it much more than Frieza, and was simply able to keep his stamina up while Frieza was unable to do that.
So after Goku's fight with Frieza and he finally puts it over to Vegeta, we see the one part that everybody hates where Goku goes into his base and he gets shot by a laser and falls on the ground and pretty much is going to die if they didn't give him a sensu bean. We don't scale that. We do find this very ridiculous, and we were not happy with it, just like pretty much everybody was. It was just to show that Goku needs more training into keeping his guard up and whatnot. It was just to really push that forward. So don't worry too much about that. We're not going to really do much with it. And then when Vegeta starts fighting Frieza, who has already been fighting, he pretty much takes him out like it's nothing. It doesn't mean that Vegeta's stronger than Goku. It's just pretty much at this time Frieza is all but used his power. So really he's able to take him out like he's nothing. So don't put too much into Vegeta being way stronger than Goku because he was able to take out Frieza. Everybody will know that Frieza just was tired at that point.
And so lastly, we're going to just so you guys have some context of where these guys fall again with Beerus and Whis, we're going to move over here, slide over, and you're going to see Beerus and Whis here and see where they stand. We already scaled them out on the previous saga, but we're just going to put them here again, just so you see where everyone stands now in relationship to each other at this point in Dragon Ball Super. So as we have done here, we've given you all of the context that we can muster up, all of the evidence that we can, including the multipliers, the converted charts, everything that we've been able to put together to give you what we think is the best scaling. The best look at how characters relate to each other in context to the anime and only the anime. So here is the chart for the Golden Frieza saga. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. We would love to know your thoughts on it. Go ahead and leave your comments below. As always, we like looking through those and reading what you guys have to say about it and all of that good stuff. If you have not subscribed up at this point to the channel and you're really interested in the content we deliver, especially we're coming out with all the charts at this point, and when we reach the Tournament of Power, I mean, it's just going to be a massive chart. We'll probably put out one final chart where we just go through everybody. You definitely want to be a part of that. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Give the video a like. We appreciate that as well.
And be ready for the next chart where we're going to be taking on Universe 6. This is going to be an exciting one because there's quite a few people that need to be added on here, like Frost and Kaba and especially Hit. I know that I'm excited to see where we're going to be putting Hit on this and where he falls, but that's going to be a fun one for next time. Just be ready for that. We're not sure exactly how long it'll be, but we're going to get that as soon as possible out for you guys.
As always, we hope you enjoyed this one. This is Vin.
And this is Joe.
Until next time.